All right, hey folks, I just got done doing the Taser video that I have been promising people for quite some time. And what finally kicked me in the butt to do the Taser video is that I have to send this Taser back to my buddy that I borrowed it from. It's on its way. So as you can see in the background, I got my camera and stuff, an old vest that we tased to show what happens when a normal vest gets hit by a Taser. And I thought, hey, I'm missing a perfectly good opportunity to show all of you how you wrap back up a Taser cartridge after you've used it. Now, obviously, this Taser cartridge here, it didn't hit anybody. It just went into cardboard, and so there's no blood or anything on it, which makes it a really good, easy, safe time that wouldn't involve me doing videos while I'm at work to show you how to wrap these cartridges up so that you don't end up getting blood all over yourself or sticking yourself with a bloody prong. So, normally when you hit somebody with a Taser, the prong is going to go into them. Sometimes it doesn't if it gets caught in a heavy coat or, a vest or jacket or something. But most of the time, these little prongs, they look like little fish hooks. You can see it right there. It actually worked out pretty well that I only had black gloves. This goes into the person. It's going to bury itself right up to the hilt. These come in with quite a bit of pressure. So you've now got this little barb that's razor sharp that's got blood all over it. And you got to deal with getting them out of the person. So these will be attached to someone. You could see in the other video where my buddy Brian grabs the prong, both hands, yanks it out. But what do you do with it once it's yanked out? And I think you can kind of see, but I'm going to explain it in this video. The Taser cartridge, those prongs come right out of these two little holes. So what you do is you flip the prong around and you put the barb end into the hole first. Now this gives you plenty of safety area where your fingers aren't, where you're not going to accidentally stick yourself. Have any problems with anybody sticking themselves, even when it's really cold out, slide them in there. Obviously you're going to want to don rubber gloves because you're playing with something that's got blood on it that's sharp. It really makes sense. Use rubber gloves in case you get blood on the body of the probe or anything. You don't want it all over your hands. Stick them in there, and then you put your fingers over those so they don't come out. Take your wires, and you wrap them around the cartridge. Just like this. You can wrap them around the other way too. It doesn't matter which direction you wrap them, but you want to wrap the wires around the cartridge. Because you got to remember, you got at least 21 feet of wire. This one I think is 25 feet of wire. Now you take the cartridge, you put it in the palm of your hand, and then you take the glove and take it off around the cartridge. Now the cartridge is in the glove. Same thing with the other one, just like you normally take gloves off. And now the cartridge is in there, the wires are in there, and the probes are in there, and no one can get stuck with it when we throw this either into the biohazard container or right into the trash, depending on what your policies are and what the newest and latest and greatest is from Taser. Now, the only downside to doing this is if you then need the serial number off of your cartridge in order to do your use of force report at work, you may have to go in there and get it, but at least for transporting the car to go back to the station, you're solid. You can take this, drop it on your seat or drop it on the floor or whatever, and you're not going to get blood all over your car, you're not going to get stuck with the cartridge or any of that. So that's how you do it. Little safety tip of the day. Now we're going to scroll up to the top, and we're going to take some comments from people. Brian says, how's it going, Tommy? Other than the wife's car getting hit, if you follow me over on Instagram, there's a link down below. My wife's car got hit, and we just came back from Gerber Collision and Glass to get an estimate on it. Luckily, it's not totaled out. It's a pretty high mileage minivan. So we're doing all right now. $500 deductible, and then in a couple weeks, we'll bring the car in, and then a week later, we'll get it back, and it'll be good as new. Well, it won't be good as new, but it'll look nicer. And then everybody else says hi, which is awesome. James Pulaski says, hello, Tommy. I was just watching your Instagram videos when I got the notification. Well, that's what I'm here for, to entertain everybody and educate, just a little bit of education. VIS says, oh my God, finally caught the live. I'm glad you're here. Warrant Warrior says, how hard does the barb hit you? Well, it hits hard enough that it can go through most standard soft armor vests, which I did in the video. It's coming up in the future. You'll see it go through. And I worked out a way that you can tell that it actually made connection behind the vest after it went through it. So the barbs will go all the way in and through the vest. Dan says, in the middle of the hood, of course, watch next week. You're going to see a bunch of kids using it as a jump rope. What, the wires on the taser? Well, that's why we wrap them up, man. VIS says, are there burn marks where the barbs hit the body? If they don't make direct contact, there can be burn marks on the skin on the outside of the body. So if it hits a jacket and it's only partially making connection, or it's a couple inches away, where the electricity arcs in, it makes burn marks. But you could see, I think you could see from the other video. No, because I never took my shirt off to take a picture of it. I think I put it up on my Instagram story or something. There are no burn marks, it's just little prong marks if it actually sticks into the person. Michael Simpson said, recent Taser research, instructor said to put the barbs on the side of the cartridge, tape over with evidence tape instead of where probe come out to better preserve DNA evidence. Oh, I just did a research like 2 months ago, and that wasn't what our guy was saying. That might be a new thing. Like I always say with this stuff's supposed to be a primer. It's supposed to give you an idea. It's not supposed to be a replacement for formal training. But you carry evidence tape around on the street, like you're going to pull these out of someone and then put them on the side and then tape around them. And is the tape really going to stop the barbs from poking through? And this is what we've been doing for over 10 years, is putting them back inside the holes, wrapping wire around them, and wrapping them up in a rubber glove. And then if we want, we can go back and change that later on, and we can pull the probes out if we need DNA evidence. But there's really no reason to preserve DNA evidence when we've tased someone. Like, we tased them, you know who they are. Maybe if you got somebody that, just regular person on the street used one of these to defend themselves, and you wanted to find out who the guy was and you found the probe, you would separately collect the probe. But even then, I wouldn't tape it to the side of the cartridge. I would put it into a sharps container. Everything we put into evidence that's sharp, that has blood on it especially, should go into a sharps container, not be taped on the side of the cartridge. I don't know. That's my mileage. I wouldn't go taping it to the side of the Taser cartridge. I think that's kind of silly. And that might be an in-house departmental thing because they're worried about cartridges later and DNA evidence, but I don't think, as a regular course of action, I wouldn't do that. Pulling the probe out of someone when we're on the street, pull the probe out, and then tape it to the side of the cartridge and box it. One, I wouldn't have that stuff, and two, it's not as safe as doing this, and there's really no reason to worry about collecting DNA evidence later. Your department policies may be different. Wetson Vietz says, why are 20 and 25 foot Taser cartridges not available to the public? Well, I don't know. You got to ask Taser about that. That's their policy. There is nothing that restricts your normal everyday person from buying 25 foot or 35 foot extra penetration cartridges. It doesn't. There's nothing that stops you legally anywhere that I'm aware of from doing that. Definitely not nationwide. You can buy them. There are websites to buy them on. We've bought them for videos here before. They're very expensive because Taser tries their best to restrict them from general consumer sale. They only sell the yellow, 15-foot ones. Gordon Kemp says, if you carry a smartphone, you can take a quick picture of the serial number on the Taser cartridge before disposing so you don't have to dig it out later. Your only issue there is anytime you use your smartphone for work, if it's your work smartphone, obviously it doesn't matter, but if it's your personal smartphone with a camera and you take a picture for work, realize that could later be subpoenaed into court as evidence. And if you're talking about use of force issues, there's a good chance it will be. So I wouldn't go doing that. But it might be a good idea when you get issued a Taser cartridge to keep, a little note to yourself, put in your calendar or something for work that, hey, this is my Taser cartridge number, so you don't have to go digging the thing out of the rubber glove. It's not a bad choice either. Now we're talking about car crashes. Well, we got time. We're only 9 minutes in. Unshelled Pilot says, I got sandwiched in a 3-car collision a few months ago. Messed up both bumpers. Then a week later, my wife's car got hit in a parking lot. Oh, don't say that, man. I just bought a car. Not the greatest car in the world. If you follow me over on Patreon, you've seen my the video of my car. It's not the greatest car in the world. It's just kind of what I could afford to put the family in that I get really cheap because it's a manual. But my wife's car, it just hit the back bumper, and so it's the bumper supports inside and the bumper cover, and then the tailgate got it a little bit. You're talking like $2,600 total in and out the door from Gerber Collision and Glass, and we'll drop it off in a few weeks when they've got time to do it and do it. It drives, the gate opens and everything. It's just annoying. And why would anyone drive off from a motor vehicle collision? It wasn't even that expensive. You probably could have worked something out. Robert Gross says, "Hi, how you doing? I watch your videos. I want to be a cop. Can I get a shout out for my channel at Robert Gross?" At Robert Gross! That's the shout outs I do. I don't know who Robert Gross is or what he does. If you want to go check out his channel, I'm sure he'll be really happy. Here's your shout out, dude. Brian DeLay says, "What department do you work at again?" I'm not allowed to say on YouTube and put it up on the internet all over the place. However, I am very Googleable. It isn't very hard to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, you need to go back and take Google classes. Squilly Joe says, "In my area, EMS has to remove probes." We go back and forth on policy with having to have EMS check the person out, EMS having to remove the probes, or us having to remove the probes. Currently, we're removing probes, but whether you're a cop or you're EMS or whatever, it's a good idea to know how to do it so that you don't cause more damage to a person. You don't end up sticking yourself with someone else's like HIV or Hep C, gonorrhea, persiflades, laced sharp object that's coming out of them. Just good general knowledge for everybody to know. Brian DeLay says, "Here in Ireland, there is a special unit for officers with tasers and guns, armed response unit." That's cool. Here in the United States, we do more of a generalist approach. Everyone is the armed response unit. Everyone is the meter maid. Well, some places have separate meter maids, but we're more into generalists. We have a lot fewer people that are specifically for one particular thing, and we have a whole lot of people that do the across the board of everything, kind of the jack of all trades thing. And of course, within that jack of all trades things, you have some people that are much better with firearms and tasers and use of force, and you have some people that are a lot better at, slinging out 100 parking tickets in a day. We can all kind of tell what side of the fence I fall on. James Pulaski says, "Is the guy gonna get a hit and run charge?" It's possible. It's very likely his car's going to end up getting towed because I had pictures and videos of the car running away with steam coming out from under the hood and the hood all messed up and a picture of his license plate. So if the license plate comes back to the car, there's a good chance that the detective that gets assigned to that hit and run is just going to go to his house and tow the car. They're going to be like, "Well, you can have the car back when you tell us who was driving it," and they come get their ticket. Really, it makes no never mind to me. The insurance is covering it. It's kind of a matter of the insurance company getting me my deductible back and getting their money back. It's all a paperwork issue now. My wife's very, very worked up about it. Me less so. Gordon Kemp says the guy was probably riding dirty. He can't think why anyone else would run from such a minor collision. Well, he probably didn't have a license. He probably suspended or revoked license, no insurance. He's like, "Well, I'm just going to leave." Dennis McKenzie says, "Took my physical abilities test today, beat the time limit by nearly 2 minutes, one step closer." Hey, congratulations. Good luck getting a job, man. That's funny, guest. VIS says, "Off topic." That's all right. We're just kind of off topic entirely now. Go ahead. Off topic. But did you get hail and snow this past week? We did here in Wisconsin. Yeah, we got a little bit of sleet last night, and we got snow outside. There's snow on the ground outside right now. It's surprisingly warm in my garage, though, so there's a plus. New Ball Supreme, can I subscribe? Yeah, hit the subscribe button. Of course you can subscribe. That's the whole idea. Subscribe, tell your friends, do all that stuff. James Pulaski says, "This Wisconsin weather is giving me a headache." Well, it's nice there in the summer when it's not muddy. I like Wisconsin. We're going up to Wisconsin in a little while. I think next weekend my kid's got a gymnastics competition up in Wisconsin. I think it's in Milwaukee. Nicholas O'Brien says, "Have you seen the new X-Rep 12 gauge taser?" Yeah, it's a shotgun that's made so you can't fire lethal ammunition in it, and a shotgun shell that is of questionable use. In fact, I don't think Taser is even making the X-Rep anymore. And if they are, I've never seen one in person, even at trade shows. They don't even bother bringing it. So I've heard there's been a lot of problems with the X-Rep. Taser shotgun shells. And also, the last time I checked, they were over $200 a shell, which makes it very unlikely my boss is going to buy me any of them. Truck Company 1746 says, I want to work security after high school for a little bit. Is there any specific schooling I would need? No. To get into the base level security, basically all you got to do is breathe and be in enough physical condition that you can walk to your post. And then beyond that, it's about what your qualifications are beyond that and being a reliable employee. So just go to wherever and start looking for a job when you get out of high school. Doing security it's not that hard of an industry to get into. It's hard to make money at. It's hard to get into the jobs where you're going to make like a living doing security. Guest says, you a thick boy? I am a little thick. I got the beer gut going on. Even though I don't drink beer, it's a donut gut for me. New Balls Supreme says, sorry, the name is hard to read. I'm from Romania. It's not a big deal. That's fine. Everybody's name is hard to read on YouTube. Dan says, what's your opinion on putting tasers on ARs? One of the tactical deputies had his long rifle set up with an X26. I personally didn't care, but a few of my coworkers had some strong opinions. I would be really worried about pointing a lethal weapon at someone when we want a non-lethal response. I wouldn't be down for that. I think I would laugh at him. I think that goes right into my derp duty weapon accessories video. And I think on that note, we're going to cut it off. If you want to hear more about derp duty weapon accessories, go check out that video up there or maybe down in the description depending on where I put it. Until next week, you guys be safe, take care of each other, and try not to hit yourself with your own taser.